Olaf Scholz's time in the German chancellory has come to an end, with the German armed forces honouring him with a farewell ceremony. The event took place on the parade grounds of the Ministry of Defence. It marks not only the end of a chancellor's term in office, but also a peaceful transfer of power. It came the day before the Social Democrat hands over the reins to Conservative politician Friedrich Merz. Following tradition, Scholz picked 3 songs performed by the Armed Forces Staff Band: In My Life by the Beatles, an excerpt from Johann Sebastian Bach's second Brandenburg Concerto, and Aretha Franklin's Respect. Let's listen in. And here's part of what Scholz said on the final evening of his time as Chancellor.
Let us not forget the strength Germany has when we stick together. To serve as Germany's Chancellor has been the honour of my life. I have always gladly borne this huge responsibility.
DW's political correspondent Simon Young told us about Scholz's legacy.
Maybe above all, it's that sort of sober, unemotional, unglamorous style that Olaf Scholz was known for, I think, in the end, around the world, and his cautious approach. One thinks, for instance, of the cautious approach on Ukraine, his reluctance to deliver the most lethal weapons to Ukraine as quickly as some would have wanted. He said, no, let's be cautious, let's not escalate that situation, potentially make it worse. And that's typical of the sort of Olaf Scholz approach to things. I think he'll point to his response to the energy crisis and the fact that Germany somehow got through that without too many major shocks. But there will be those who'll say, well, no, Germany has slipped. Germany has suffered serious economic recession over the last couple of years. And in the end, I think many people will point out that Olaf Scholz presided over, in a sense, a failed government, because it only lasted for 3.5 years rather than the full 4-year term, a 3-party coalition. He just couldn't hold it together. And in the end, it was that sort of unemotional style that meant voters didn't perhaps really believe in the end that he was listening to them anymore. So I think you'd have to say, like many politicians, it'll be a mixed legacy that people will look back on.
I'm going to pull in now Markus Ziener. He's a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund and a professor of journalism at the University of Applied Sciences here in Berlin. It's good to have you with us this evening. This new coalition agreement, it promises a lot of reforms, especially when it comes to more defense spending, stricter migration laws, better minimum wage. Are these goals, are they realistic at this point for Germany?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. And yes, I think Friedrich Merz knows very well that he has to deliver, and that this government has 4 more years in order to do better than the previous government on a number of things. You just mentioned defense. I think this is one of the main topics Friedrich Merz has to focus on. Fortunately, he has Boris Pistorius from the SPD, who is the most popular minister and politician in Germany, leading the Ministry of Defense. And he has now also the foreign ministry in the hands of the CDU, the chancellory in the hands of the CDU. So I think there's a lot of possibilities now for Friedrich Merz to advance.
And what about Friedrich Merz himself? You know, you mentioned popularity. His numbers are not good at all. Is it possible that the new chancellor could be the weakest link in this coalition?
It all depends on how the economy will be doing. I mean, we're currently in a recession in Germany, and we have to get out of the recession, which is probably a daunting task. If we look at the trade war that's on the horizon, it already has started. For a country so much oriented on export like Germany, this can be terrible. Now, the question is, can Friedrich Merz somehow navigate the economy out of this misery? And if he succeeds, I think his numbers will go up again.
So Friedrich Merz will be the chancellor. What about his relationship with the new vice chancellor, who will also be the new finance minister. I'm talking about the SPD party's co-chief, Lars Klingbeil. I mean, is theirs a relationship, a working relationship that you think will last, or could they easily become enemies?
I think they built some trust during the negotiations of the coalition treaty. And I think they also know that they both have to succeed in order to lead their respective parties into a new election in 4 years. So I think infighting was the main problem of the outgoing government of Olaf Scholz. And I think there's one thing they don't want to repeat, that's the constant conflict and struggle that has dominated the previous government. So I think they are basically bound to succeed.
I want to ask you, too, about the largest opposition party here in Germany, and that, of course, the AfD, the Alternative for Germany party. You know that last week it was designated as an extremist party, right-wing party. It is now suing the German Domestic Intelligence Agency, which made that classification. What happens if the AfD loses that court case? Can it maintain its status as the strongest opposition party?
Well, what we can see from the past is that the AfD never really lost among their followers because of being too radical or being labeled radical. It's not the first time that the AfD is considered to be extreme and right-wing extreme. So now the difference is that now the party as in its entirety is seen as an extremist party, which makes a difference, and which also makes a difference because now it's easier for intelligence services to monitor and to survey the party and to tap phones and do many other things. But at the same time, I'm not so sure that this really has a big impact. I don't believe that the AfD will succeed in its lawsuit. I don't think that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I also don't think that Friedrich Merz would go ahead and try to ban the AfD. I mean, he had a quite a negative experience when he sided with the AfD just a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
On a motion in Parliament. And so I guess that he is not willing to go down that road at this moment.
Markus Ziener with the German Marshall Fund. Mr. Ziener, we appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.